Well, Professor Colleen Hayward, thank you very much for joining us at St John WA today. I know you and I have worked together on a number of projects over a number of years. I'm really humbled and proud that you're able to come and share some more of your experiences with us. What I'm really keen to do is not tell our organisation what they should or shouldn't do, but I would like them to be best informed, and I'd really appreciate your view. There's a lot of dialogue about the voice at the moment, what it means. There's quite an element of why people should be for it and a number of people that are against it. I believe people should be able to make up their own mind. I just believe people should make an informed decision. What would be your take on the two respective views on the voice at the moment?
It's always interesting, I think, when we come to any referendum. Although I don't think there's been one that has generated as much conversation as this.
Right.
Referendums are not something that we in Australia do very often. So lots of people who will be voting won't have ever voted on a referendum question previously.
Right, especially not on this topic.
Absolutely.
Matter.
It's really, really important for people to be informed. And so many of us are encouraging just that. I was really lucky and quite privileged to have been involved in this process pretty well from the start. Together with Gordon Cole, I co-convened the Perth Regional Dialogue. So there were a series of regional dialogues across the country. People had to not quite pass a test, but really be endorsed by their respective communities to be part of those conversations. We workshopped for days, literally days, and then each regional dialogue elected a series of representatives, 20 per,
right,
to go to the National Convention. So it was a really democratic process, very inclusive, and as I say, a real focus on traditional owners and those who were knowledge holders in terms of being able to speak for country.
What do you think is the opportunity, if we get the opportunity to progress with it, and equally, what happens if we don't? You know, what's your take on that?
For me, in terms of this question about the voice, a voice, however we like to term it, it's really about all of us, whether we are Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, non-Indigenous, come from a different cultural background. If something is happening that is going to impact on us, we want to have a say. To me, that's actually what this is about. Is it special recognition? Yes, it is. And part of that, probably all of it, is about recognising that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people are the first people of Australia. So due recognition is appropriate. Mm-hmm. This is really about saying, if an issue impacts, let us tell you our thoughts about it. As government, federal government, you will still make the decision. This is not a right of veto. Mm-hmm. But it does say we want to inform the decisions that government makes before they make them.
What's your view to that no argument that it's not going far enough, in which case people don't support it?
I think one of the things that I realised, note to self, many years ago was that so many of us, whether we are Indigenous or non-Indigenous, we want more sooner. We want to be heading in the right direction. One of my survival mechanisms, though, was born of recognising that government policies can change overnight. But if we take the time and step through and really build change brick by brick, it's harder to dismantle. Mm-hmm. So these conversations are necessary. The step by step, in my view, is necessary. I know that a number of people, including a number of Aboriginal people who were saying, no, this doesn't go far enough, are saying we want a treaty first before we have a voice, or we actually want something that is firmer in terms of going further than consultation. I think if we wait for something to be perfect before we do anything, nothing will ever change. Every step is a good step so long as it's going forward rather than backward.
Some of the other commentary around the no vote is that all peoples in Australia are represented through a parliamentary system of elected members to the Senate and lower houses and state parliaments and federal parliaments. What would be your response to that in terms of that being a representative model of everybody that lives in Australia?
For me, there is a danger in limiting our vision to the here and now. Right now, we're lucky, not only Indigenous people, but non-Indigenous people, we are lucky that with the numbers of Aboriginal people in our federal government. That's not always the case, and it's certainly not guaranteed. In New Zealand for decades, they have had designated Maori seats. We don't have that. We're not asking for it. But the fact right now of Aboriginal people being represented in the Parliament is a chance. And with it being a chance, it's also a risk. Because at the next election, the results might be quite different, regardless of which party wins the majority. There might not be any Aboriginal voices. And that really would be a step backwards.
What would be your hopes and aspirations of what better place we could be in 5 or 10 years' time with a successful yes vote?
I think everyone now has a focus, to varying degrees, on improving the life circumstances of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in this country. There are too many indicators where we lag. Lots of Aboriginal people, in fact lots of research in this area, points towards Aboriginal voices not only informing the way policies and programs might be developed, but in their implementation so that results are actually more effective. This is something that is a focus for us all. And what lots of us are asking for is a chance to be formally part of that process. It's about informing. It's about coming up with different solutions. It's about viewing the world and the issues that we all face through a different lens and enriching the debate that then happens. There is now lots of information from both the yes and the no side of the campaign, regardless of where people are, and definitely if people haven't yet made up their minds. Jump online, have a look at what's available, and really go to the ballot box informed so that you can be confident in your vote, whichever way that happens.
Make that vote count and make sure that it's informed.
Absolutely.
Well, fantastic advice. Well, thank you, Professor, for your time and your wisdom in sharing that with us. It's much appreciated, and I look forward to working with you for a long time to come.
As do I.
Thank you.
My pleasure.